Okay, so in this video, I want to go through the very important topic of factorizing quadratic trinomials. Okay, quadratic trinomials are of this form. So we see it's ax squared, so something x squared, plus bx, so something x, then plus c. So it's something squared, something x, something c. So the official definition is an expression of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0, is called a quadratic expression or a quadratic trinomial. And tri just means 3, so you see there's 3 terms. Okay, but basically to summarize that, a quadratic has an x squared term. So let's think about this before we go on to factorizing. Let's revise multiplying brackets. So remember, we split up the first bracket, so x and plus 3. We write the second one twice, x plus 7, x plus 7. Okay, so when we multiply that, we get x squared plus 7x plus 3x plus 21. We'll finish up with x squared plus 10x plus 21. Okay, so that's expanding the brackets. So expanding the brackets is going from brackets down to this multiplication, these two, this expression. Okay, going back the way then is what we call factorizing. Okay, factorize. Okay, so if you're told to expand, you go from brackets to an expression. If you're told to factorize, you're going from expression back to brackets. So the two brackets are what we call the factors of the expression. So, for example, if you had 10, two factors might be 1 and 10, or 2 and 5. Okay, so just like where you multiply two numbers to get the big number, you multiply two brackets to get the big long expression. Okay, so when you're told to factorize, you're turning a quadratic back into two brackets. So the method you use for this is that you find, first of all, what we call the guide number. So that's the x squared coefficient times the constant. So that's the first number times the last number. Okay, and then we use a pair of factors of the guide number which add to give the middle coefficient. So we find the factors of the guide number, then we see how they add to give the middle number. Then we can rewrite the middle number as two numbers and factorize by grouping. Okay, that was a lot of things to say. So if you want to pause and take that in, that's fine. I'm going to go down and do an example now, and that will make more sense. Okay, so we can see these examples if the x squared coefficient is just 1. So it's just x squared, or 1x squared. So technically, to get your guide number, you'd have to do 1 times 8, but realistically there's no point in doing that. So we can just say that our guide number is 8. It's just the third number. Now, so we find the guide number, and then we find factors. Okay, so remember we need factors, numbers that multiply to give the big number. So we have 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. Okay, that's all the factors there are of 8. Now we need to find factors which add to give us the middle number. So we've got 1 plus 8 or 2 plus 4. Clearly 2 plus 4 is going to give us 6. So we can rewrite this as x squared plus 2x plus 6x plus 8. Okay, we're allowed to do this. X squared plus 2x plus 6x, that's the same thing. Sorry, 2x plus 4x, silly me. 2x plus 4x plus 8. And now we can factorize this by grouping. So if you see my last video on grouping, this should be simple. So x by x plus 2, because that's the first two, and then plus 4 by x plus 2. So these two second brackets should always be the same in these questions. Then we can just combine them, x plus 4 and x plus 2. So that's our answer there, x plus 4 by x plus 2. When you multiply that, you get x squared, 2x, 4x, so like we can see up here, and then plus 8. Okay, so let's go on to this one on the right hand side now. Okay, so this time our guide number is actually going to be minus 6. That will make a difference because we need to see the factors. So we have got 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. Okay, so you might look at this and think, oh, 2 and 3, they add to give us 5. But that's actually not going to work here because our guide number is a negative 6. So because it is a positive number in the middle and a negative at the end, the bigger number is going to be positive, okay? But you're going to need one negative to make sure that that last multiplication gets you a negative at the end. So instead of that, we're going to have the 1 and the 6 because 6 minus 1 gives you 5. So rewrite it, x squared plus x, minus x plus 6x minus 6. Then factorize x squared x by x minus 1 plus 6 by x minus 1, and we get x plus 6, x minus 1. Okay, so we've got that there. That's grand. Okay, you can pause if you want. I'm going to go down to these next two. Okay, same as before. Let's get ourselves a guide number. So 10's our guide number. We've got 1 and 10, or 2 and 5. Now, notice in this one, we've got a negative going on here, but a positive at the end. So we're going to need two negative numbers in order to make a positive. Okay, and to keep it negative in the middle. So obviously 2 and 5 subtract to give you minus 7. So we'll go x squared minus 2x minus 5x plus 10. Now factorize it. Take out x by x minus 2 minus 5 and x minus 2. Okay, and combine them, x minus 5 and x minus 2. So you can see here very clearly how these two will always break down like this. Okay, and you're left with two brackets at the end. Now just one more before we go over these again. Okay, so our guide number is going to be minus 40. So we have 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8, and that's all that there are. Now, notice in this one, we've got two negatives going on. So we're going to need the bigger number here to be negative to keep the middle negative as well. Okay, so we can just do this, rewrite it, x squared plus 5x minus 8x minus 40. We can factorize it, take out our x for the first one. Notice the first one is always x, and then the second one, 8, is our thing, x plus 5. And so we've got x minus 8 and x plus 5. Okay, and what we were using there was the 5 and the minus 8. So let's just zoom out and put the 4 of these up. Now, these are the ones, very specially, which have an x squared coefficient of 1. And if you notice here, see what I have highlighted? So in the first one, it's 2 and 4. And you notice the 2 and 4 end up here. Second one is minus 1 and 6. Notice that minus 1 and 6 end up down here. Third one, minus 2, minus 5. Again, minus 2, minus 5. And the last one, minus 8 and 5 there. Okay, so there is actually a shortcut for these ones. Now, only when the x squared coefficient is 1 does it work to just do this shortcut. But you can actually just jump straight down here with these and just have your bracket like that. Okay, so that works pretty well if you want to take a shortcut. Now we're going to go on to the slightly harder ones. But just before that, here is some questions that you can try yourselves. Okay, you can do it the easy way or the hard way, but you can pause your video and then try these yourselves. Okay? So we've got delete there. So there's your answers there. And there is your answers there as well. Okay, so you can see whether you got the questions right, whether you did them the long way or the short way. Okay, so for these ones where the x squared coefficient is greater than 1, you need to multiply. Okay, so our guide number is going to be 3 by 8 for this first one. I'll just zoom in a bit. 3 by 8, which is going to give us 24. Okay, so find the factors. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Yeah, so that's them all. And we see which ones add to give us 10. So clearly 4 and 6 add to give 10. So rewrite it like before. 3x squared plus 4x plus 6x plus 8. So put them together, now factorize it. Okay, it might have been easier if we put the 6 first, but I'll leave it as it is. So 3x squared and 4x have x in common. So x times 3x plus 4 gives you them. And these ones have 2 in common. So plus 2 by 3x, that gives us 6x, plus 4, that'll give us our 8. Okay, and then our answer becomes x plus 2 and 3x plus 4. So you see how in these, instead of just having x as your answer, you have actually got 3x in one of them. Okay, so it's not just as simple to write down straight from the factors to the end. You see how they have been divided out like that. Okay, on to the one on the right now. We will get ourselves a guide number here. So we have, so what happened there? 8 times minus 3 to give us our guide number of minus 24. Okay, so that's actually going to be the same numbers, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. Okay, but notice this time we've got a negative 24 and we've got a positive in the middle. So that means the big number is going to be positive and the little number is going to be negative. So which of these adds to give you 10? So we have got 12 minus 2 will give us 10. Okay, so let's go with this. So we've got 8x squared minus 2x plus 12x minus 3, and then just factorize as normal. So 2x is in common here, so by 4x minus 1, and then plus 3 is in common here by 4x minus 1, so that'll give us 12x and minus 3. Combine your brackets then, 2x plus 3 and 4x minus 1 gives you your answer there. Okay, so there's the first two. Now we'll go on to the bottom two as well. Okay, so we multiply 2 times 12. We've got another 24. Okay, so we've got 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8 and 4 and 6. Okay, so we can look at these. We see that the negative is in the middle this time, so that means the bigger number is negative. Okay, and we'll see which one of these works out. Okay, so we have minus 8. That's 11. I have said this wrong, I'm afraid. We need both numbers negative because we have a positive at the end. So we're going to need both numbers negative. Okay, so we've got our minus 8 and minus 3 working out here. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 8x plus 12. So x by 2x minus 3 minus 8 by 2x minus 3. Okay, or sorry, minus 4 times 2x minus 3, because 4 by 2 and 4 by 3. So we've got x minus 4 and 2x minus 3. And finally, we have 7 by 6 here. 7 by minus 6 gives you minus 42. So we've got a few factors going on here. We've got 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, 6 and 7. Okay, and we see you've got two negatives going on up here. So you've got negatives in both. So the bigger number is going to be negative. Okay, and to give you 19, we've got the 2 and the 21 here. Okay, so 7x squared plus 2x minus 21x minus 6. Would have actually been easier to put these the other way around, but it's okay. X by 7x plus 2, then minus 3 times 7x plus 2. That's your factorising there. And combine your brackets, x minus 3, 7x plus 2. Okay, so here we have the 4 answers for those. I probably did speed through them quite a bit, but I didn't want to take up too long in the video. But you see how you have to do the multiplications and then you group them. Okay, so it doesn't just work to stick them in, you can't really do that, because you see how you've got a 3x, you've got a 2 and a 4 here, got a 2 here, a 7 here. So you need to work it out a longer way. Okay, so I'll show you some examples now and you can try them yourselves. Okay, so there's 4 that you can try yourselves, ones with positives and negatives mixed around. So pause the video, give them a try, and I'll put up the solutions now. Okay, so there's the solutions to those. You can see which ones. Oh, I didn't highlight this, but it was 27 and 2 up there. But yeah, so you get your factors, see whether they need to be positive or negative, and then factorize by grouping in each of them. Okay? Now, just as a kind of summary of all of these, this might look a bit confusing, but focus on the middle bits. Okay, so the signs. Okay, so if you have 2 positive signs, okay, 2 positive signs, you're going to have 2 positive signs in your answer. Fairly straightforward. If you have a positive in the middle and a negative at the end, your bigger factor is going to be positive. So the bigger number is going to be positive and the smaller one will be negative. If you have a negative in the middle and a positive at the end, that means you need to multiply a double negative to get your positive at the end. So they're going to be both negative. And if you have 2 negatives, then you're going to have a positive, but then the bigger one is going to be negative. Okay, what I mean by squiggly line is just some number. Okay, so you can see the rules there. If you have 2 positives, you get 2 positives. If you have positive middle, negative end, you have big positive, small negative. If you have negative middle, positive end, you have 2 negatives. And if you have both negative, you have positive small, negative big. Okay, if that's helpful. Okay, just finally, these are really important for Junior Cert and Leaving Cert Maths. So here is 27 questions that you can try and practice yourselves. Okay, it can be good just to do loads and loads and loads of them. So try them out, see how you go, and I'll have the solutions here. Okay, there's the solutions. That'll do for this video. There was a lot in that, but it's so important. Like, it crops up everywhere. You need to do them loads at Junior Cert, and then they come up everywhere at Leaving Cert. So try as many as you can, make sure you've got them. Good luck.